So good morning, everyone. I want to start with a question. With the economy continuing to be so tough, what's happening in Seattle with the following? People sleeping on the streets, people needing sobering centers, people who are homeless winding up in the emergency room. Now, it may surprise you to know that all of these are down in the Seattle area, and it started with you, joining with United Way in ending homelessness. Let's look in particular at the numbers for the one-night count, which happens each January and sends volunteers out into the middle of the night to count the number of people who don't have a place to come home to. This year, for the second year running, the number of people on the streets was down, this time by 11%. That wasn't, thank you. Now, that wasn't true in many other big cities. So what are we doing right? Well, it's pretty basic. We're creating housing. Since 2007, along with our community partners, we've opened more than 1,400 units of housing for people who have been homeless, many for years. Ending homelessness is a personal passion of mine. Now, you might think that that's because I run Weyerhaeuser, and a lot of what we do relates to home building, and in that respect, you'd be right. But another part of it is that I'm a veteran, and it breaks my heart to see so many vets wind up homeless. The experience of war is something that traumatizes a lot of men and women, and an appalling number end up on the streets. Did you know that veterans make up about 9% of our population, yet they constitute 21% of those dealing with prolonged homelessness in King County? That's right, a fifth of those experiencing long-term homelessness are veterans. That's why I stepped up in 2006 to be part of the United Way's work to end homelessness. I wanted to help people like Corey McKay and his little girl. Corey's an Iraq war veteran, a Marine. While he was off fighting, his wife gave birth to a baby girl. He was thrilled. He was so excited to get home and meet his daughter. But he ended up coming home sooner than he'd planned because of a deep depression that had taken hold of his wife. And as soon as Corey got home, his wife left. Now, he faced a tough choice. Should he get out of the Marines and stay home to take care of his daughter, or go back? He chose to take an honorable discharge, and he stayed home. And from there, things got tougher. He couldn't get work. He lost his housing. He did find shelter for himself and his little girl, but it was only for a short time. And then finally, he caught a break, a spot in a transitional housing program at HopeLink. It's a place where Corey can stay for a full 2 years, and he and his daughter can regroup. You've helped to make this possible for Corey and many others like him. And in the year ahead, we'll be doing even more for veterans. Together with our community partners, we'll be taking added steps to keep veterans from ever becoming homeless. And if a vet does fall, we'll be there to catch them and make sure that they get the housing and the services that they need. As you know, these are hard times for human services. A lot of public funding is just evaporating. Priorities are being reconsidered. New ways of doing things are being debated. New efficiencies are being demanded. And sorting all of this out won't be easy. But there have to be ways that we can get vital things done for the people who need our help and make the most of our limited resources. The work on homelessness that I've been talking about might serve as a model. At least that's the view of the Kennedy School at Harvard University, which just recognized our efforts and those of our partners as one of the top 25 innovations in American government. There were 500 nominees, so being in the top 25 is a big deal. We share the honor with others. We share the honors with others in our homelessness funders group, which includes the City of Seattle, King County, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others. Before this funders group came together, support for housing and homeless services was fragmented and uncoordinated. But now, if you want to get a project done, you can approach the funders collectively, and if we agree that the project is a priority and is well planned, you can line up much of your funding with just one application. Here's the upshot. Projects that really need to get done are getting done faster, easier, and more cost effectively. And that means that more people are finally being welcomed home. Let's talk about kids. Those of you that were here last year had a chance to learn about an exciting home visiting program that bridges the preparation gap for low-income kids. If we don't bridge that gap, it'll affect the rest of their lives. And of course, it can affect all of us because we need every kid to reach their full potential. The initiative is called the Parent-Child Home Program. And the very low-income kids that it serves have an 80% chance of completing high school. That's compared to 50% chance for kids that don't take part in that program. A 30 percentage point difference. Now that's profound, and it's a huge impact that has happened because all of you took action. In only 1 year in this program, we've raised $9 million. And because of this outpouring, hundreds of additional families can be served each year. Let me tell you about just one of them. The mom is a young woman named Mariah. She's so bright and buoyant and hopeful, you'd never know what she's been through. It started with falling into drugs at a young age, and in her late teens, she became a mom. She was working and doing pretty well, but drugs were a constant lure. Ultimately, she got into some legal trouble, separated from her children, and it shook her to her very core. Because you see, Mariah loves her kids, and you know it when you see her with them. Mariah now has herself and her kids in a transitional housing program. She's making the most of every opportunity there. Narcotics Anonymous, job training, and yes, the Parent-Child Home Program. She marvels at how her 3-year-old boy is doing. She had no idea that a boy so young could pick up things so fast. He really loves his books. She says that reading with him is bringing them together. And because of this program and her hard work, Mariah is a better parent, and her family clearly has a brighter future. Now let's turn to basic needs, another core priority of United Way. Over the last year, your support has meant that more than 8,500 families have gotten help holding on to their housing. I'm talking about short-term help in paying their rent and utilities after suffering some kind of a setback. You made possible more than 750,000 visits to food banks. You also helped 4,500 families get signed up for food stamps, families like Maisie and Sean. Let's watch.
Going through this experience has changed things for us dramatically. The whole unemployment thing was kind of unexpected, and I was pregnant, and Sean was finishing grad school. It was beyond desperation. And, I was at the food bank because I didn't have a way to feed my kids. I don't care what I eat when I eat, but when you see your kids not having what they need. Like, it will just bring you to your knees, you know, like you would do anything, like you'd do anything to get it to them, you know.
Maisie and her family got help through a volunteer program called Bridge to Basics. You know what? No one should have to feel the way that Maisie did. All of us have to ask for help at times, and being there for each other, that's what community is all about.